I got a very interesting phone call, and I think that it's negea to everybody, and it's important to talk about. Before TP, I'm sure all of you could understand, and it's happening out there in the world all the time, where there's a situation with a child, and the parents don't agree. And one wants to be tough, and one wants to be accepting and loving, and it's titzach, major problem. Usually it's the husbands that are tough, and the wives are usually, I don't know what happens in that stomach for 9 months, they're usually holding on longer and saying, no, we have to be loving, can't be tough. But sometimes it's the opposite. And each one is fighting with each other and saying, no, you have to be tough, and you have to put your foot down, you have to have consequences, and you have to have boundaries. And the other one says, no, you have to love, unconditional love. What are you talking about? Unconditional love is like an American thing that's not our way, doesn't make any sense, you're stepping all over me, I'm not going to step all over me. And they fight back and forth and back and forth. And very often, one of them says, we have to be tough. Not only do we have to be tough, but you, my dear husband or my dear wife, have to back me up. We have to have a united front. You heard that? A united front. So it was negea to a family that stopped talking, the daughter stopped talking to the parents. And she said, I'm willing to talk to mommy and not Tati. Tati said, if you don't talk to me, she shouldn't talk to you. Nobody in the family is allowed to talk to her. United front. And it's not covered for me as your husband if you go and have a relationship with her. If she doesn't want to talk to me, I'm insulted, and all of that. I know. So we had this in many different ways. We had this before also. And people are very confused what to do. Now, I kind of like this. First of all, like I always told you, I'm sure you all heard this from me, before you have a mahalach that you both agree on, and you come here and your das Torah is behind you and you both agree to listen, it's very painful because you don't know what to do. It's like trying to go to Los Angeles and you don't know if it's east or west. So every single block, make a right, no, make a left, make a right, make a left. You're going to fight every single block because you don't know if it's east or west. You don't have b'chalal know where you're going, where you're trying to go, what you're trying to do. It's very hard. So it's very normal for each parent to want to do different mahalach and not to agree and not to know because there's no mahalach. You don't know what to do. And different people are different, and that's fine. Who's the one that says, but if you don't listen to me, you have to listen to me? So it's so interesting. I think usually, maybe always, the one who's saying we have to be loving and accepting is not saying to the other one, and you have to listen to me. Usually the one who's rejecting and cutting off says, not only is this the right thing for me, but you have to listen to me. Does that make sense? In other words, a little bit deeper, it's not a mistake that this person says you have to listen to me, and that same person is usually the one who's saying, we have to be merachik the child, because it's the same personality. So I was saying like this, there's two separate issues. Even if you hold you have to be merachik the child, that's one thing. The concept that my husband or my wife needs to do what I do has nothing to do with chinuch, nothing to do with parenting, and nothing to do with husbanding, because that's just King Tut. That's just Arabville, saying that I hold like this. You don't even know if you're right, by the way. You have no experience, but I hold like this, and not only I hold like this, you can't hold differently. So I said, what does one thing have to do with the other? There's two separate relationships. You're not tied to each other. You have two legs, a left leg and a right leg. You have a mommy, you have a daddy. We're not sure what to do anyway. You do what you're comfortable with. You do what you're comfortable until your das Torah kicks in. Why would you then say that not only I hold that you have to do this, but you have to do what I want because we have to have a united front? What does that mean? Why do you have to have a united front? Why do you feel bad? If you think you're right, you think you're right, but you don't know for sure. Why do you feel bad that your spouse does what they do? Where does this even come from? So I looked in all Sfarim. I spent a lot of time. I didn't find it anywhere. I didn't find it anywhere that if I hold that the chinuch approach is one way, that now my spouse must back me up when they feel it's different because we have to have a united front. That's what I told the guy. I don't think it has to do with what we're doing. I think you could decide you might be right, you might be wrong, but it shouldn't be that we have to have a united front. You don't have to have a united front. What kind of a message is it? A mixed up message? Yes. You know why? Because you're mixed up. You could say, Mommy and Tati don't know what to do. Tati wants to lock you out of the house, but Mommy says no, so you'll come into Mommy's bed. That's a little bit harder when it's one house. You don't want to talk to Tati, but you want to talk to Mommy? Wonderful. Besides for the fact that I think I have an idea of what's right and what's wrong, besides for that, how does one spouse tell somebody else, right, you have to listen to me for the sake of a united front? If you're a world expert and you mamash have 100 times that you did this and you feel you're so right, then maybe you could say, listen, you're going to ruin it, I'm an expert. Where's the humbleness? Where's the anava? Very good. Both parents, halavai, they should be on the same page. And they should agree to be on the same page. And they should have a consistent approach. Like he said, when you come to me, you both have to sign up, avada. But if you don't sign up and you have separate approaches, then how does one pull a gun on the other one? You cannot talk to him. Because I decided I'm not talking to him, and you can't. You know what happens, all those kids, it happens all the time. The kid gets thrown out of the house, nobody's allowed to talk to him, the father says. They're talking behind the father's back. They think their father's a nutcase. What?
I'm in charge of the Ruchnis.
So let's say it's a Ruchnis sticker thing. Yeah, in the name of Hashem. Always in the name of Hashem. But not religious people do it also.
What?
Not religious people do it also. When I think of a religious person, I think of Rav Pam. Rav Pam wouldn't do it. I think of Gershon Edelstein. Think of Rav Arlie Steinman. Think of the Chazon Ish. You could say religious things. I'm not talking about jihad Yiddishkeit. I'm talking about real, authentic Yiddishkeit. You would go to any authentic person and you would say, we don't know how to deal until we find out. Can I say that you're not respecting me by not treating the child the way that I... And here's the kicker. Which one do you think is right? At the end of without knowing the mahalach, which parent is the one that's going to be right at the end of the day? Not that one. Not the one who's full of gaiva, who's full of himself. If you can't, that's not usually the one that has the right mahalach. So a lot of times I'm on the phone with parents and I hear all this rhetoric, whatever, and I always say, what makes you think you're right? Well, we got a united front, and it's like the whole talk. So I say it like this. I have an answer for you. I know a guy. I want you to go to him and listen to whatever he says. Really? I say, yeah. I'm going to give you an address of a guy. You're going to go to him. Mr. Goldberg, lives in Borough Park, 16th and 45th Street. You listen to whatever he says. He tells me, okay, what does he do? I say, he's a plumber. He's a plumber? Yeah. But you listen to whatever he says. He said, well, does he have experience? I said, no. Nope, he has no experience. What? No, he has absolutely no, he's never been in your situation before. And he's going to tell you how to deal with your very dangerous and extreme situation. He's going to tell, would you listen to him? There's no way. Why? Because he has no experience. So what's the difference if it's you? You also have no experience. Just because it's you, therefore you're going to take a pikuach nefesh situation, you're going to do it because it's you? You just said you would never listen in a dangerous situation, an extreme situation. You wouldn't listen to anybody who doesn't have experience, but because it's you, your opinion all of a sudden becomes more valuable, right? So here's what it boils down to. Because the people who are humble and non-judgmental and follow this book, the Toima Devera, and who have midas tovas, would never say that. Even if they think they're right and the other person's wrong, but they wouldn't think to say, not only, right? And I'm thinking, not only are you wrong, and you don't have the sugya, you're such a balgaiva that you're forcing other people in your house to do the wrong thing. Because the people who are right don't think like that. That was my point. My point is that once somebody's talking like that, we have to this, and you have to this, and I don't do that, and me, da. Where's the another? Why don't you just say one thing? I have no idea. Why is that so hard to say? I don't know. I don't know. La'olam yilmad adam loymar eini yodea. Look how much pain and suffering happens because people refuse to say that. And you hear it from me. You could be this for me. How many times you hear from me? I don't know. Anything besides for this little thing that I hope I know, constantly. We step out of the bounds. I'm saying, I don't know. Ask my family. All they hear from me all day long. I don't know. I have no days. And I always tell them, how do you know? I'm amazed at the pool. I go to the pool now, and I'm sitting with guys. They know everything. How do you know? How do you know? All I'm saying is, how do you know? How does everybody know? Oh, him, he's this. I'm like, how do you know? I must have missed something, because I know nothing. I'm no fun at all. But I don't know anything. I'm in this room too long. I'm sitting in this bunker too long. No, but how do you know? Like, and then they ask me, and I think, I need to do a lot of research. Don't I have to do a lot of research? And I get questions that are like life and death stuff, and I don't know. But I don't know anything. Everybody knows so much. It's unbelievable. And they talk like with authority, and then you see the ego of the person. And you could have two people. One guy knows more, but he's more of an unav, and the other person knows less, but he's a big mouth. And everybody's, yo, he knows. I'm like, they don't know nobody knows. So a guy went ahead and he just bashed an entire organization, 100 years old, authentic Yiddish guy, and in Barabim. I'm like, how do you know? Corrupt. How do you know? Did you review the books? Did you sit there? How do you have a gut feeling? Really? You have a gut feeling that a whole organization is corrupt? I said, I'm willing to bet you $10,000. Are you willing to put down $10,000 on what you're saying now? Barabim? Lashon Hara? No. So why do you have to know? Okay.